Welcome to the Dawgs Table. Hosted by Craig Fountain and Jared Fatty Bates. Get access to special guests. Anyone can join the Dawgs Table. Find the link to join the show in the comments when we go live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Periscope, and everywhere on the BIGPLAY network. Here's your host, Craig Fountain and Jared Fatty Bates.
We are live here at the Dawgs Table. What's going on, Craig?
Oh, not much. What a busy week. And we already have folks asking for the comment. We are the Dawgs Table. We are a Cleveland Browns roundtable discussion show that almost anybody can join. Anybody, really, provided that you're respectful.
Almost anybody. Anybody can join.
Anybody can join. They have to be respectful once they join. So, anybody can join. And especially now, I think we need the disclaimer. I don't care if you like Baker or like Deshaun or whatever it is. Who cares? We'll get into all that. Norman, good evening. Welcome to the Dawgs Table once again. We'll get that link posted in just a second. We are brought to you by Labatt Blue Light and Remax Edge Realty, the JC Group. We are part of Team Big Play. And we are going to have an awesome show tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Running Bald Man, thanks for joining the show. Red Leg, we got Chris. Joe, I'm going to post the comments right now. I'm sure everybody wants to talk about what happened this week. Because, man, Fatty, what a 180 towards the end of the week.
I mean, we released Austin Hooper, right?
That's exactly what I'm talking about, is the Austin Hooper release.
We traded Case Keenum?
We did. We did. We got a solid 7th rounder. Breaking news.
What else do we do?
Yeah.
What else?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
All right. I'm getting the link posted now. I'm going to post it. It's going to go to YouTube and Facebook from here. We are going to monitor Twitter as well. I've got the Twitter up on my desktop. I'm going to post the link to join.
Hey, after the week that you've had, I am not touching Twitter tonight.
Wow. There was some good with the bad.
There was some good.
There was some good.
Yeah.
I am posting it to Twitter right now. Link to join the show.
Oh boy, here we go. My Lord, you are just opening up a can of worms.
If it'll let me comment. It may not. We have Joe. How's it going, Joe?
Hey, what's going on, Craig? What's going on, Patty?
It's been a while. We're glad to have you on the show. You came out of hibernation for some big news, some big discussion.
That's the only time I come in is for big news.
Right. All right. Fatty, why don't you go ahead and get Joe's opinion here while I try to figure out why I can't post comments to Twitter real quick.
Nobody likes Twitter, but we also got to bring in Red Leg. Go on,
Red Leg!
Hey, guys, how are you?
And our man, Norman. What's going on, Norman?
Norm.
How you guys doing?
We're doing good. How are you doing? Is the first question.
All right.
Are you doing okay, Norman?
I don't think he can hear us.
His mic's muted, looks like, too.
Oh, his mic's muted?
It was funny. I was looking through some past videos for a minute, and I saw where I suggested Amari Cooper as a wide receiver, and Norman's like, "Oh, he's not a free agent." And I said, "Trade?" Question mark. That's a dub.
Norman the Beast. All right, Joe. Let's we were texting a little bit after these moves.
Without me. God,
yeah. Sorry, Fatty. But Joe, why don't you give me your thoughts on this whole situation? You're the non-Twitterer of the group right here.
I am. I'm not part of the Twitterverse. It's just too much. Anywho, my thoughts. I'm going to start with, the character, outside of football. These allegations, I mean, it's a tough situation, but you would think that hopefully, the front office and everybody did their due diligence into this and, did it for the right reason. Those allegations, they're tough thing to, deal with or think about. But, those things haven't been settled yet. So, I'm kind of letting the case keep going and, see what happens with that. As far as, go ahead.
No. Let me time out for a second. Okay. Let me get you involved in Twitter. What you just hold on. Shut up. Innocent until proven guilty. You shut your face. Don't you talk about these allegations?
That's not. I didn't say anything about innocent until proven guilty.
There's no criminal charges. He didn't do anything.
All right, guys.
Now you know what all right. Like. All right, now you can come back.
So, anywho, back to it. As far as football goes, this is huge. He's a major upgrade from Baker. I mean, he is a generational talent that is going to put, that he's on top, and he can ascend this team higher than Baker could.
All right, so really, it was interesting because the last time we had the show, we were speculating on whether or not this is something that would even happen, right? And then all of a sudden, we get news that it's not happening. There is zero chance of this happening. That's just the way it happened. And then everybody's talking about, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Baker's mad. Baker requests a trade, this and that and the other. Is it Garoppolo? Is it Mariota? Is it this? Is it that? What are we going to do? Man, we might have effed this up. And then out of nowhere, we get the news. I think it was Rappaport, I think, said, as it turns out, Deshaun Watson chose the Cleveland Browns. Norman, I'm curious. Can you hear? Give me a thumbs up, Norman, if you can hear me. I don't think he can hear me. All right, let's go to you, Red Leg. He can hear me? All right. Yeah. All right, Norman, what did you think when you heard the Deshaun Watson news?
I don't think he can hear me. All right, let's go to you, Red Leg. He can hear me? All right.
Okay, he's going to delay.
He's behind, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's on speaker. Red Leg, what did you think when you heard the news?
I think, mad, honestly. The best way I can describe it, days later, is it's like being in a relationship where your trust has been violated. And that's exactly how I felt. So, personal side, player side, yeah, I think everyone agrees he's an upgrade. But it's like this, the kind of team you trust in, the team you love, and then you're like, it's like they cheated on you, and you just don't understand. So,
I feel like I kind of want to expand on what I said last week, and because I have so many people reminding me every hour on the hour that they're keeping receipts for January, whatever's in January. I think they think the Super Bowl is in January. I want to kind of get out my stance. Okay. And this is something where, if somebody wants to go back and say, you said this, or, whatever, I want to be able to pull this up and I want to say, this is my stance. My stance is I 100% absolutely believe that Deshaun Watson is a football upgrade over Baker Mayfield. I love Baker Mayfield. I supported Baker Mayfield. I rooted for Baker Mayfield. You can call me a Baker bro. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I don't care. I wasn't rooting for just the player. I wasn't rooting for just the team. I was rooting for a player on my favorite team.
That's right.
So here we go. So now that we have that out of the way, the idea of the personal stuff off the field, I struggle with a little bit. The reason why I struggle with it is because there is just too much smoke for me to think there's not any fire. Now, the way that I'm going to handle this situation, and we have folks across this very wide spectrum of fans that are dealing with it in various ways, right? Some of us are burning our T-shirts and jerseys and saying, I'm never going to root for the Browns again. Some of us are saying, I'm going to cancel my season tickets. And somebody else is saying, I'll buy the ones you're canceling, right?
Absolutely.
So, here's my stance. Just for receipts, for all of you that keep reminding me or keeping receipts, I am still going to root for the Cleveland Browns. They are still my favorite team. I'm going to root for the team as a whole. It would be an injustice to Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett and all these other guys if I didn't. I am not going to root against Deshaun. I may not buy his jersey. I won't buy his jersey. I won't let my kids wear his jersey. I won't buy his merch. That's fine. That's fine. But that doesn't make me any less of a fan. I will not judge you if you are for Deshaun Watson. If you want to wear his jersey, buy his merch, if you're okay with everything going on, I'm not going to judge you for it. If you want to leave the fan base and say, I'm not going to root for the Browns anymore because of this signing, I'm not going to judge you. I will not actively go out and pick a fight with you because you have an opinion. But if you come to me and you want to fight, we can fight. And a lot of you have, and I won't bite first, but I will bite back. Some of you think that makes me an emotional person and somebody that's probably fun to troll and engage with, because that's what people like to do, right? They like to troll. So that is my stance. Deshaun Watson, yes, on the record, better than Baker Mayfield. Will I still root for the Browns? Yes. Will I buy Deshaun's merchandise? No. Will I root for the team as a whole? Absolutely. Do any of you see what Joe, I know that of us in this room, and I don't know Norman's opinion on all this, and we can get to that here in a minute, but Joe, I know that you don't necessarily share those same sentiments. How do you feel about the whole situation and what I just said? Do you have a problem with the way that I'm handling it?
No, you have every right to be able to, feel the way that you do. You have every right to that. I just think that, you don't have to buy, his merch. You don't have to, do any of those things. But I will have to say that, if he, elevates us, wins a playoff game, does anything like that, you can't ignore the fact that, he is one of the reasons why I'm doing it. So, you, in a way, you do have to root for him, for the team to succeed. I will say that, it's an uncomfortable situation for sure. It's very difficult. But, and I know there's a lot of, things of, and I'm not one of those people of, where he wasn't wasn't convicted of criminal
so he went,
or whatever.
He went before the grand jury. He was neither found guilty nor not guilty. They just chose not to.
Right. There wasn't enough evidence or whatever to try him. And, and then things get, settled or whatever in civil court. It happens a lot of the times, actually, and with a lot of different players. But yes, you can't ignore the facts that this has happened. There's 22 allegations. That's a huge number, huge. And, I have a daughter and, it's it definitely puts a knot in my stomach for sure. But when it comes down to it, this is a business. And if, the business had a problem with it, AKA the NFL, then they would have handled it, a lot sooner or, done a lot more things, in my opinion, about it. But, so the way I kind of feel a little bit is that, if he's able to play, then, it was a huge upgrade over Baker.
All right. So not to cut you off, Joe. I'm sorry. I thought you were
you're
done
fine.
there. Seahawks high on Baker. So there was a series of tweets, and we'll get back on the Deshaun stuff. Don't worry. But so this doesn't get buried. There were some screenshots going around Twitter. Alonzo Highsmith, who used to work for the Browns, is now an executive in the Seattle Seahawks front office. Somebody posted a tweet that a healthy Baker Mayfield is better than Deshaun Watson, and got absolutely raked through the coals on Twitter. All right. Now, even I disagree with that. However, a lot of people agreed with it, but people were going through this Seahawks front office executives' Twitter accounts, and they found that he was liking some of these comments, and a lot of comments that were in defense of Baker. And it seems like, while he, there was reports today that Pete Carroll said, we want to keep Geno Smith. We want to bring him back. There's been a lot of speculation about whether Colin Kaepernick might get a shot there. So I don't know. Again, back to where there's smoke, there's fire. Maybe it's just the one guy that's infatuated with him. Unfortunately, it's the only destination that remains on the table right now that really makes a lot of sense. I did post I found somebody that had put Baker Mayfield in a Seahawks jersey and posted it and said, hey, I tagged Alonzo Highsmith and I said, hey, come get your boy, because he was making the comments, and a bunch of people retweeted it. Alonzo Highsmith ended up following me on Twitter because of it. So maybe that's a good sign. I don't know, but he clearly saw it. But it's one of those things where I hope we need something in return for him. All right. We are getting loaded up here. Joe, I appreciate you joining the show. Do you have a little bit of time?
Oh, I'm here all night.
All right. Joe hasn't been in on a while. I'm going to bring in Norman, and then we're going to start rotating through because we actually have the most people in the dog pen I think we ever have. Sure. So Norman,
how about this? I will step out, let people give their opinion, and I'll come back in here in a little bit.
Okay.
All right, Daddy.
Same. I'm going to step away, but I'll be right back.
All right. Cool.
All right, I'm here.
All right. So Norman, what did you think when you heard the news, and what are your thoughts now?
Okay, just to put a little time capsule on it. I didn't find out about it until that evening when I was at work, and I kind of was checking the feed to see what was going on. And somebody had a meme up on Twitter that pretty much described how I felt. It was like a little Muppet, and he was doing this. I was like, wait a minute. I read the thing and said the Browns were now taking themselves out of the competition. That's what it said on the TV when I was watching NFL Network. But apparently they were taking themselves out because they were told, okay, you weren't going to be the one. But then they didn't give up. Now there's been speculation on why, and this is probably from all the way from Jimmy Haslam, and I can kind of understand that. One of my other favorite podcasters made a comment about it, and I liked his reasoning. And he was saying that because of the way the deal was structured, there's only one person who could have authorized and pushed for this deal, and that being Mr. Haslam. So whether it was because of Baker's heartfelt letter to the city, like, if I'm leaving, I love you. If I'm staying, I'm going to be working. I don't know what the future holds, but, I just appreciate my time here. If that was seen as some kind of a diss or whatever. But the bottom line was, whether it was Baker's up and down career or the fact that the frustrating moments while we have all this talent on this team, and people can say what they want about Jimmy Haslam, but since he's been here as the owner of the team, he really has been committed to winning, and he's tried to find that right combination. and he's come out and spoke on this on a few occasions. He got his front office guy in Barry. We trust. I hope I speak for everybody. We got the coach that they wanted. Now they say they need a quarterback. Now, my view, I'm a chime in on what you said, Craig. I agree with pretty much most everything you said because I am a Browns fan. If you wearing the orange and brown, I got love for you. I want to see you do well. Okay, all of them. Because if the player does well, that means the team is going to do well. And if the team is doing well, then one day we're going to see him get to that Super Bowl, right? And win it. Okay. As far as the off the field stuff, okay, I feel torn, okay, because he happens to be a player on the team. If he wasn't, I probably just wouldn't be having any comments at all because I like to let stuff play out in the legal verse before I start saying anything. Deshaun has stuck by his innocence throughout this whole thing. There were originally 11 other women, I don't know you guys know this, who were on the complaint and they were taken off because they were found to be untruthful. So you got the 8 women who testified, I guess enough to where they say, okay, we'll listen to what you got to say. And when the way I take when the grand jury says there is not enough evidence to convict, that's pretty much saying innocent. Now, it may not be a ringing endorsement of innocent like you would in a trial, but this is not a trial, it's grand jury. But they said there was nothing criminally done. Now, in regards to the other 22 women, I don't like the fact that I've seen things on Twitter and on Facebook, very misogynistic. So I think we need to avoid this because I am all into the Me Too movement. I have had family members and friends who have been sexually assaulted before. So that's a serious thing. If someone says it happened, we need to listen. Okay. But on the other side of that, innocent until proven guilty. Now, as far as buying a jersey, my whole philosophy on that is I like to buy the jerseys of people who at least make their first contract. Okay, that's why I got a Miles jersey. Okay. Before that, I had a Cribbs jersey because Cribbs was just there. Okay. And he just breaking records. So I got a Cribbs jersey. But and one day I'm gonna get a Chubb jersey because I expect him to be around. And most likely, if things go well, as far as the way he plays, I might end up getting a Watson jersey. But what I want to see from him moving forward, and he hasn't had a chance to speak yet, or they haven't had him speak yet, but he will. He's going to have to at some point. I want him to address one, again, restate on his innocence, and then say, I'm not going to talk about details because it's in a civil trial. But that how he takes it seriously. For example, sort of like follow the same mode as Hunt and who am I thinking of? Who used to play for Atlanta and got involved with dog fighting?
Vick.
Thank you. Okay, now Michael Vick was probably the most vilified for off the field shenanigans of anybody because apparently, however people feel about things like serious subjects like sexual assault, you can't be messing with animals. I mean, that just seems like everybody across the board was on that one. So he had a while and he did a lot to try to correct that. Okay, he did his apology, and then he did something meaningful to go behind it. So this is the difficult part for Deshaun because now he's going to be saying I'm innocent, but then he needs to do something to show empathy about women in general. Now, on the other side of this, the women in general, it could be a whole big old thirsty plot to hey, I didn't get a big enough tip from this guy, so I'm gonna make this accusation, see if he'll throw some more money at me, and then everybody else decided they was gonna do the same thing, and that would be unfortunate because male, female, whatever, nobody should be accused of doing something like that if they really didn't do it. Because the fact is, you're gonna be labeled for the rest of your life, and that's unfortunate. Okay, but winning cures everything. And if Deshaun comes here and balls out, I'm pretty sure that a lot of the negativity is going to go down. It may not go away, but it won't be as vocal. Go ahead.
You're muted, Craig.
Thanks, Red Leg. All right, Norman, stick around for a minute because I have another question for you. Welcome, okay. Ben and Barry, Hookers and Blow. Barry, how you doing today? All right, so let me ask you, Barry, I know that you don't have a ton of time tonight. I kind of want to get your opinion on the situation. What did you think when you found out about this deal? How do you feel about it now that you've had some time to sleep on it a little bit?
I still don't know. I don't know. I still don't know.
I think there's a lot of us that are in that, I've kind of articulated my stance, but there are so many people that are like, I don't know what to, the Ricky Bobby Hands thing. Like, what I don't know what to do right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. Like, when it comes to rooting for the Browns, I'm not going to root for them to do bad. But you said it yourself. It kind of feels dirty, even the way they structured a contract. That you said it feels dirty. It doesn't. It's not right. And then you got, and then now we got the Baker situation where we can't even find anybody to take him supposedly. So we're going to end up having to either eat his $18 million, keep him on the roster, or release him. And he's going to end up over in Pittsburgh. Like, this whole situation was just handled horribly.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Matt Ryan's trade didn't help for Baker.
Trade
Baker away.
No, it didn't.
It killed it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're going to have to probably put a pick with Baker to get a higher pick.
At the best, we're going to get a 6th or a 7th now, and that's at the best.
Well, I'm kind of in Joe's camp where I think that we're not going to get anything. We're going to have to actually do the Brock Osweiler style trade. We're going to have to say, here, take Baker in a 6th, and
give us a 3rd salary.
Yeah, or if we're going to have to send him to Seattle with a 6th round pick and offer to eat half his salary,
which is fine.
That's perfect.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Point.
I mean, Baker's definitely an upgrade over Drew Lock. We can all agree on that one.
I think that, yes.
Yeah, make it conditional. He does well, he balls out and get a little higher.
What do you guys think? I think that for the most part, some of us are big Baker fans in here. We would be the Baker Bros on Twitter. Some of us are kind of, what the reports today that Pittsburgh would be interested in him if we had to cut him. What do you think of that? Does that terrify you, Ben?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, he's a guy who plays with emotion, and if he ended up on Pittsburgh, I think that he's got something to prove, and he'd be all in for that.
The straight Cleveland,
and then overthrow his receivers.
Yeah, well,
or not.
Hey, listen, whatever you think of him, I think this year his overthrows have basically been when he's been hurt. So, let's put it where it is, right?
Fair.
So,
all right. If you were just tuning in, we are the Dawgs Table. We're a Cleveland Browns roundtable discussion show brought to you by Labatt Blue Light, Remax Edge Realty, the JC Group, and part of the Big Play Network. If you're on Twitter and you're watching, we are monitoring the live video for comments. We will try to catch those, and we can't put them up on the screen quite like this, but we can at least try to address them. If you have never seen our show before, but you've joined Twitter Spaces, we are like a video version of Twitter Spaces, which is kind of cool. You can click the link in the comments, come on the show and video chat with us. All right, we have an out-of-towner asking a question here, Andrew Chamberlain. I don't know if you guys discussed this yet or not, but will Baker be a starter with his next team or a backup? And my answer, and somebody, if they want to raise their hand and agree or disagree with me, that's fine. My take on this is that in the right situation, he will start or compete for a starting job, which is fine. Now, here's the problem. There's not a whole lot of situations. If I'm Baker, I would actually – he's competitive. He's got an ego, which is one of the things that's his greatest strengths and worst enemy at the same time. A place like Seattle, he could go in and start. A place like Pittsburgh, he could go in, and I think he would beat out Mitch Trubisky easily. That's my opinion. A place like Carolina, I think that they view him as a lateral move from what they have on the roster, but if he went down there, he could be fine. Now, what he should do is he should campaign to go to a guy that's really interested in him by the name of Bruce Arians and sit behind Brady, learn a few things, get a ring in the process, and then get promised a chance to have a shot at taking the reins should he prove himself. Fatty, you raise your hand.
Well, I mean, it's just, that's the best case scenario for Baker, but that's not what Baker wants to do. He doesn't want to sit. He wants to play. And you also got to throw in Detroit in there.
Why? Hold on. Explain this to me, because I see this now. There's two potential trade partners that have been reported that don't make a whole lot of sense to me, and they actually it might speak a lot to their current situations. The Detroit Lions and the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers, if they're upset with the development of Trey Lance, or they don't have the confidence in him, or they don't want to keep Garoppolo while they continue to groom Trey Lance, they've got a big problem over there. Number two, Jared Goff. Jared Goff isn't an elite quarterback by any means, but he's gotten a team to a Super Bowl before. Do you think they're ready to replace him yet? Is this part of the whole Dorsey, Dan Campbell would be a better fit for Baker?
Hey, who drafted Baker Mayfield?
Dorsey.
That's what I just said. That's what I'm asking.
He loves him.
That's Dorsey has faith in this guy. He drafted him number 1 overall at 6 foot tall from Oklahoma. He drafted this guy for a reason. And you know something? He might not want to, he's probably going to double down on his deal, because wouldn't you, if you're the one that drafted Baker Mayfield number 1 overall and you don't want to be a bust, bring him into Detroit. Let him go against Jared Goff and see who actually is the best quarterback.
I think he's definitely trying to prove a point if he were to do that. But I think, man, you're really risking your career on that single player.
So is it just me, or has the leverage gone in Baker's favor at this point? Because listen, one of the first things that happened when all this started going down and we got Deshaun Watson, one of the common narratives was, listen, the Browns have all the leverage. There's nothing Baker can do. He's going to have to be humbled, get traded. He's not necessarily going to be able to pick his destination, this, that, or the other. The Browns can't pick his destination either. But here's the big thing. Whether he's on the team or we release him, if we can't find a trade partner, the Cleveland Browns are on the hook for over $18 million. Does that push leverage into Baker's favor? Now, we all know Baker, and again, his ego is one of his greatest strengths, but it's also his greatest weakness, and we've seen that a lot, okay? If he wanted to be a dick, and actually Deshaun could have done this if he wanted to, he could be like, I'm not doing anything you guys want me to do. I'm not restructuring so you can trade me. I'm going to throw a fit if you try to send me here. You're going to have to cut me or keep me on the team and not play me. But either way, I'm going to make my $18+ million. What do you think happens? Like, do you guys think the leverage is kind of back? The ball's kind of back in Baker's court a little bit? Red leg, you were nodding.
No, I just the Browns are in such a stupid position right now to try to get rid of Baker. They have no leverage. They have 2 quarterbacks. I've been fighting this all day yesterday too. They have 2 quarterback ones. They don't need Baker. They signed Watson. They have Brissett coming in as the backup, who's obviously the plan to play. Like, Baker's value dropped the moment they said they're going for Watson before they traded Baker. Like, it's just such a stupid position to be in. Like, there's no leverage there. Baker, if I'm Baker, I would show up to practice to spine and make them pay me, right? I mean, if your shoulder's hurting, oh, that's too bad. At least shut up. You know, I'm like, there's just nothing good. And a lot of Browns Twitter seems to think that Baker has absolutely zero value, and that's why teams don't want him. No, dude, they cut him. They're going to get a cheap bargain. They're going to scoop up Baker. The story about the Steelers going, yeah, wait for the cut. Wait for the cut. Super cheap. Guess what? You're making 18 from the Browns. We're picking up. You'll pick it for 7. There you go. 25 mil for a year. I mean, it's just logical.
Red leg.
Yes.
This is OBJ all over again.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to trade for OBJ at all. And what did the Browns do? They had to cut him. They had to cut him because nobody wanted to trade because they actually realized that nobody was going to trade for OBJ and the Browns were going to cut him no matter what happened at that point in time.
Norman, I see you up there, but hold on. BJ, I saw your reaction.
I don't think it's quite OBJ. People didn't want OBJ because he was a headache. People don't want Baker.
Well,
because
No. I understand what you're saying, Barry, but I'm saying this is like OBJ. It's not because of the headache. They could have got a 5th-round pick for OBJ, but they realized that the Browns were going to cut him no matter what. So they're just sitting back waiting and going, sure, cut him. I'll sign him up on this side.
But the difference is,
but there's going to be a team that's going to try. Sorry, there's going to be a team that tries to take him over being waiting to be cut.
Yeah, there's going to be somebody that's going to, but OBJ was ready to fit into just about any team and had a chance to put any of the teams over the top. There's 27 football teams right now that have a quarterback that they think is better than Baker Mayfield. So there's 3 teams waiting for him to be cut. 3. It's not like Baker or OBJ where there was 10 or 12 playoff ready teams that was looking for a receiver. I mean, I can see where your comparison is, but and the ball was in OBJ's court because he's just going to throw a fit and say, I don't want to go there. And they're like, we ain't dealing with it. We're going to try to make him play for us. Baker's different. It's a really buy low, sell high situation with Baker.
Well, and here's the other difference. I think Baker's more expensive to outright cut. Number 2, they have to decide whether or not to hang onto him. Somebody could blow their knee out in OTAs or whatever. Lawrence. Oh, French isn't in here, but Andrew's listening. Andrew is French and I's cousin. And actually, when I said that, I completely forgot because I'm ADD, but Andrew's actually a Bucs fan. So he likes the idea of taking a flyer on Baker if he's willing to sit. Norman.
To me, that was like, I never even thought of that one, but it makes perfect sense. I mean, who's to say that Baker doesn't, or that Tom doesn't get hurt halfway through the season or something like that, or his arm starts to go on. It's possible.
All right. Norman, go ahead, and I know you've been waiting to talk. Go ahead.
Okay. As I've said before, I trust in Barry. So even if we have to basically fire sale Baker to somebody, to me, for a lot of reasons, and you've all of you have at least stated, one of them, deal him preferably into the NFC. Okay. Now, Dorsey might be trying to be shrewd and sit back and say, we don't have to say nothing, but we don't know yet. So if I'm Barry, I'm calling him, and I'm calling that GM over in Seattle, and maybe the one down in San Francisco, because they're doing all this talk about trading Jimmy G, but the market's kind of dissipating. And I don't think I've heard too many speculations of where he would go that hasn't already been filled. So unless they see Baker as an upgrade over Jimmy G, and actually I kind of do, then they might be on it, or they just might say, we'll just hold pat for now and check out some of these rookies that, we think might be able to take over for him.
I think
but Seattle was a strong spot for him. And Dorsey, he has an affinity for people that he's picked. And that's
he's got to prove
historical.
he was right. But another saving grace in this situation, or could be, is that San Francisco may not want to trade Jimmy G within the division. That's if the Seahawks even have interest in him. But sending Baker to the NFC is a win. Sending him to Seattle is a win. If we can get something out of him, even if we trade Baker for a 7th, that's a win right now. If we don't have to give something else up, this proves to me that Baker was plan B, right? So Watson was plan A. They went into this whole situation and they said, listen, this is not a good idea. Let's go see if we can find a reason to make this a good idea. And they did their due diligence and decided that they went in as a no and came out a yes, right? So they decided that they were going to pursue Deshaun Watson. They told Baker Mayfield, we're going to pursue an elite quarterback, somebody that you can't even argue with us, that is better than you, if they're available. Other than that, we're committed to you. I don't think Baker expected that to be Deshaun Watson. I think he expected that to be Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, maybe something like that. And then they go talk to Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson tells them, no, I'm not coming to Cleveland. They go back to Baker and say, hey, buddy, how's it going? We're not trading you, even if you want to be traded. I mean, let's be honest. That's what happened. That proves he was plan B, because where Baker would have been worth the most, and we know how much Barry values draft capital. To me, that would have been prior to this whole situation. If they knew they were done with Baker at the beginning of the season, they would have traded him not long after, before this turned into a mess, before they pissed him off, before anybody had a chance to tank this whole thing and diminish his value. They would have traded him. But they honestly thought that they could go pursue Deshaun Watson, that they could call Baker Mayfield and say, hey, we're going to go with you. And then rumor has it, and this isn't confirmed, I don't know if this is, the rumor has it that they called up Baker's camp and, they used that F word that everybody likes and said, go pound salt. And then they went back and, took a second shot at Deshaun.
Hey,
so
the other rumor, hold on.
I need to know what Joe's got to say. Hold on.
All right. So sorry, but so listened to a few podcasts and also read a few articles on the Deshaun situation and stuff like that. So there was so his number one reason for not coming was because he didn't want to go north. We all knew that he said that he would rather stay south. He liked the weather down there, blah, blah, blah. Then he actually said, you know what? After he's told Cleveland no, I'm pretty sure his people were like, dude, you might want to reconsider. And then looked at, the big picture, roster and everything, and said, you know what, Cleveland, I do want you, because there was in this article that I read, there was another suitor or someone that was, trying to get him that said, well, wait a minute. We could have matched Cleveland. Why wouldn't you let us at least do that? Because Deshaun wanted to go to Cleveland. Deshaun wanted to actually come to Cleveland. And there was an article I read that Stefanski literally the first, I think they had like 2 hours with him. We'll say 2 hours. First 30 minutes was doing some vetting, Jimmy and all them, Andrew Barry, talking about the situation. And then they let it over to Stefanski. And then Stefanski had an iPad where he literally had plays from when Deshaun was at the Texans, played it for him, and then played clips of what we ran as far as like RPOs, let's say. And then literally showed a clip of, what he did in Houston. And I guess it was him and Stefanski for about an hour just going at it on the iPad.
Nobody could see or hear what they were talking about.
I don't know if it was
what it was there.
From what I heard, they couldn't see what was going on. They could hear what was going on.
But they actually showed, and Joe, you can confirm this. I think we read the same article.
Albert Breer.
They showed plays of Deshaun and Houston running RPOs. They showed the Cleveland Browns running the identical play.
Yep. And
they showed the difference in outcome. And then Deshaun actually asked Stefanski, will you coach me hard? I want to be coached hard. And what can I do?
What can I do to improve myself? Yep. And he told him something. I don't remember what it was, but he said, dang it, you remind me of my sophomore coach when I was actually being coached. So I think that I think Stefanski was a huge reason on why Watson was coming here. You know, when it comes down to it, I think that, Baker got a little bit too much, ego with him. I think, again, that's a double-edged sword, like you had said. And, Watson is a huge upgrade. And I think that he's just like, yep, I want to get back into this. I'm going to listen to you. And when he listened to him, he's like, I like what you had to say, and I want to go forward with this. And that's what happened.
So I want to just step back just for a second because Chris asked this question.
Yeah,
we haven't gotten to it yet. What is the salary for Watson and Brissett this year? Isn't it structured to be really low this year? So this has actually been a discussion that's been kind of debated back and forth on social media and such. Players have taken different stances. Talking heads have been taking different stances. Fans have been taking different stances. So it is commonplace when you is a low salary, you push the money to the back of the contract and into the signing bonus. This is not new. It happens all the time, but it feels pretty calculated in this instance that it was as low as $1 million. And the player that I'm going to hang my hat on that brought this up and said he can't wrap his head around it, it feels icky is I think the word he used. And that's a word I use a lot because icky kind of describes to me the whole situation. I'm not, judgmental enough that I'm just like, lighting things on fire, but like, it just doesn't, it feels icky. Right. And that's Mitchell Schwartz, former Cleveland Brown. He said, listen, it happened with my contract. My base salary my first year was super low. It happens with a lot of people's contracts, but even as a player, this feels kind of icky that they structured this contract for a minimal financial hit in the case of suspension. Brissett's actually going to make more money this year. I think it's $4 million this year, roughly, for Brissett. That explains why they didn't go with Marcus Mariota. They explored that option before they signed Brissett. Marcus Mariota got more money to go to Atlanta.
Starter.
It's presumed starter. I'm struggling with the Mariota thing. I don't understand the infatuation, but
Nick, he's like the new Nick Foles, or like he's like Nick Foles 2.0. I don't know, or Nick Foles is Marcus Mariota. I guess. No clue.
I guess, Norman. I know you were trying to talk. Sorry, I had you on mute there.
Okay, just to go back real quick on what you said on Mariota. His time in Oakland, he actually played well. Okay, enough to where somebody saw him and said, "Hey, let's take a flyer on him and see what he can do." The other thing is just going back over what I just heard. I did hear that Deshaun was very impressed by the presentation by the Browns. Now, they didn't get into it any more than that, but when you said what I did hear that Stefanski was talking to him about the kind of plays he wanted to run with him, and they said that the Browns were impressed with his knowledge of the offense and, what they were trying to do. So I think he pretty much was like, man, outside of the code is like not so much a big deal, but it's sort of there. He was more like, I wanted to be close to home. If he was in Atlanta, he would have been at home. If he was playing for New Orleans, he'd have been close to home. And he would have been in a division that he's familiar with. And up until the unretirement of Brady, he could have been the king, and he still had that chance, maybe going to work with New Orleans, who has a nice roster. But now when the Browns come back, they made the kind of pitch that they felt no one else was going to be able to make. And that goes back to Mr. Haslam. Okay. They said that they went to the Saints and the Falcons and asked them about, hey, can you guys match this money or, do better? And they all got the mumbles. Blah, blah, I don't know. Maybe we could, nobody just came out and said, yes, we can. So He thought about it again and said, okay, I enjoyed my talk with the coach, the synergy. I like their plan for me. I like the talent that they have. I like the moves that they're trying to make in free agency. I think maybe this is my path to get, back to the playoffs and into the Super Bowl. And then he made that switch. That money was probably a large part of it because it's a history-making contract, as we all know. And even though they structured it the way it did, and I call that being prudent. So some people might want to say it's smarmy. I just say it's prudent. If you're looking at this from a business standpoint.
I'm going to say real quick, Norman, and I think Joe wanted to say the same thing because I saw him about to open his mouth. One of the most interesting things to me about the way this process has been revealed to us, the timeline in which this happened, one of the most interesting things to me about this whole process is they did not talk about money when they met with him. They did not even talk money until Deshaun Watson said, all right, it's you guys. Let's talk money.
Until the trade was accepted and then we received him.
Right. It was, in the Browns. I'm gonna make Fatty's head explode with this. Maybe red legs. I don't know. Ben, maybe you too. The Browns, quote unquote, did right by him when he said, all right, it's a done deal. Let's talk money now. That he said, okay. And now we're going to talk about money. And they paid him and they locked him up for 5 years. And this is the part where I'm going to make Fatty's head explode. Take the icky, right? The stuff I think is icky, take that out of it. And I will not be able to separate the two formally. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm watching him in the Super Bowl or in OTAs. It's always going to be there. It's going to be like OJ. OJ's not guilty, but everybody knows.
Hold on. If he wins you a Super Bowl, is it still icky?
There's going to be a slight rain cloud over it for me.
If he wins you 2 Super Bowls, is it icky?
It's just icky.
Will it always be icky?
It will always be icky to me. It will be.
Ask a Steelers fan how they feel when Ben did what he did.
Oh, I don't think Steelers fans have morals. Anyways, listen.
Here we go. We lost that right. We lost that right.
No. Don't say we. There's a few Brown fans that
there's no we
ever said anything about it. A lot did, but I can tell you, I was never one of them.
Yeah, all right.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Yes. Let me make Fatty's head explode real quick. If you separate the icky out of this, the way Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, and Jimmy Haslam handled this, and I give all the credit to Berry, I think, or most of the credit, is they absolutely did this in a masterful way that few could. And they absolutely fleeced the Houston Texans. And that's part of why I'm struggling with this, is because I want to celebrate. If this was any other football player without these allegations, I would be celebrating. I would be screaming from the rooftops. I'd still be wearing the same clothes, partying from the night that I got the news, right?
All right, hold on.
All right, yep, see, that's exactly what happened.
No players in the trade.
Hold on.
Yeah.
That was a rumor.
How did they fleece the Houston Texans?
Because they got Deshaun Watson for what the 49ers got Trey Lance for. And that's all I need to know. And we did not give up any players.
Dude,
according to the rumor. No players.
No. There are no players. There
are no players. They actually
gave a couple extra picks.
Okay, yes. Hold on for 1 second. Can Trey Lance play tomorrow?
Probably.
Yeah.
As of right now, today, yes.
Can Deshaun Watson?
As of
today,
now,
yes.
So you're losing supposedly Deshaun Watson for half a year.
We don't know. So
we don't know.
There's an article that came out today.
Know. So out of the 5 years you signed Deshaun Watson for, 1 year doesn't even count. Let's be honest. 1 year doesn't count.
I think he's going to end up
with back and
I think he's going to end up with 6 to 8 game suspension. They're going to knock 2 off when he appeals it. So there's only one reason I don't have a problem with this, because Fatty, I'm with you 100%, because he's gonna miss games, and that's why we got Jacoby Brissett. I'm with you, Fatty. I see you, I hear you, I'm with you. But I was not buying into the we have to win now bullshit that we have a 1 year window. Because you know what? I don't want to win for 1 year. I want a Pittsburgh Steelers resume where we go, how many years without a losing record? They've been 500 or better since Tomlin's been a head coach. 15 to 20 years?
Right? Yeah.
Something like
that's
that.
Right.
I want the New England window, 20-year window. I want that kind of a window. I don't want to. Now, granted, we're going all in. They went all in, and they know they put their asses on the line here, right? And again, I can't formally separate this stuff. It all feels icky, but from a purely football standpoint, I will give up 6 games if it will give me 5 years of joy with an asterisk, because they took the joy without the asterisks away from me, and that was 2020 Baker Mayfield.
Can I say something?
Patty's about to go on fire.
Oh yeah, we still got our dog of the week, but let's get Norman in.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me put the caveat here that I could be wrong, because I was wrong about Baker being eventually staying here. He almost did, actually. I was almost right, but I still ended up being wrong. I am of the small camp that says that NFL will not suspend him. And if he is suspended,
is this a time served or is this conduct policy?
It's a partly because of time served, because his contract falling out with Houston. Well, he didn't even play for a year. Now I realize that was on him, but the fact is he didn't play. So that's what the NFLPA will come out and say. He didn't play.
I understand. Ahead, he could have. Houston could have played him. They chose not to.
Well, no, actually, he said, I'm not playing. It wasn't Houston that didn't say they wanted to play him. Both. Deshaun Watson told him he wasn't playing. He said, I want out of here. And they said, no, we're not trading you. And he said, okay, well, I'm not playing. And he sat down. And they let him sit for a whole year. But here's the thing. The main thing going in Watson's favor in his camp is the grand jury's decision. Because now the way civil cases work, and I kind of like civil trials for depending on what it's about. But the fact that they have a lower burden of proof,
50%.
If the NFL decides that they like what the grand jury did and what their own investigation comes up with, the only reason I could see them doing this is to sort of like try to appease those fans who have a real heartburn about Deshaun Watson and what he's accused of. So I'm not looking at this. Even if he gets suspended, I would say it'd be like 4 games. And if he fights that, then maybe 2 games. Okay.
Question.
That's just me.
Go ahead.
What do you think about the way the contract was restructured, and how little that's going to impact him if he does actually get suspended? Do you think that the NFL is going to look at that as trying to evade the suspension, the financial penalties of the suspension?
So I'll take this one. I don't think so. And I actually, one of my favorite writers is actually a guy that despises the Browns and constantly shits on them. But here's what I know, because when it comes to legal matters, he is a former lawyer who had a Dawgs Table type project that turned into ProFootballTalk.com. All right, one of the biggest media outlets and probably one of the only ones used in front offices around the country. And they actually posted an article today, and you guys can.
Oh, did he freeze?
Oh shit, he froze.
Oh no! God. I was hoping for a name drop.
Oh my God. Reboot.
Russian hackers.
Oh, I love it. He's about to talk about Ukraine and they bamboozled him.
You can find it on my timeline.
Wait, he's back.
I'm back.
Halfback.
All right. Where did you lose me? You lost me before the name drop I heard.
You were getting right to the tea. You were getting ready to spill the tea.
All right. So Mike Florio, ProFootballTalk.com, actually released an article. He's a former lawyer, and it was the possibility of commissioner exempt list still looms for Deshaun Watson. And you can find that on my Twitter profile or ProFootballTalk.com because I retweeted it with a quote from it today. So he goes through all the different scenarios in which Deshaun.
Oh my God!
Guys, it's ours. It's ours now. We own the show.
Let's go. Russia does not want to hear Craig's take.
Oh my God, Putin! I hate you more than ever. More than ever. Oh my God! I believe he was talking about the commissioner's exemption list. Yes, you're back.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Commissioner's exemption list. Go.
The NFL hacked us, and they're like, he's not going to say this. All right, so I'm going to read you a quote. The league has learned to keep its head low and its mouth shut in these matters, or as long as it can. The league will act when the time comes to act. And I'm currently confident that if 22 civil cases remain pending against Watson when it's time to play games, Watson won't be playing in those games. There's two main takeaways. These civil suits need to be taken care of prior to the regular season, or they will put them on the commissioner's exempt list. Now, this also benefits the Browns. It's not just them weaseling that money in there like I was alluding to earlier. It's icky from both sides. The Browns will not be penalized because that's a paid leave. So they have to pay him while he's on the commissioner's exempt list. Once those civil cases are settled or they're gone, all right, they're resolved. Resolved is the right way to put it. At that point, if he's suspended, then he doesn't lose any money. So this was structured so the Browns nor him would lose money this year. If the NFL really wanted to F him, they would drag this out until next year. And then it would cost both the Browns and Deshaun Watson a lot of money. But the main takeaway is they've learned to keep its head low and its mouth shut in these matters for as long as it can. And really, when it comes to the precedents, and we can go back and look at Big Ben, we can go back and look at Zeke Elliott, we can look at Kareem Hunt, we can look at Tyreek Hill, we can look at, they're not all sexual assault cases, but they are serious matters. And listen, the precedence does not matter because you know what the NFL will do? Whatever is best for their PR. Whatever is best for their PR.
Whatever brings money to the table.
Right.
It's a business. It's a business.
Yep. I mean, the NFL. The NFL's gonna try to save face here. They're gonna have to do something. They want more women involved. They want women engaged, and they can't do nothing because they have to go. Well, something has to be done. I mean, it'll be token effort, maybe a full suspension, maybe a couple games off. They will do something though.
Well, the person who was punished the hardest by the NFL, in my memory, that I can think of, was Ray Rice.
Oh, he didn't just get punished; he got blackballed.
I was saying, dude, he was gone.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, and I was thinking about this the other day because I drafted Darius Geis in my dynasty league startup 2 weeks before he got in trouble. Darius Geis.
Sorry.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. This is AD rep.
You're fine. But no, so all right. So here, so real quick, I think the biggest accusation that we can, bring to the table is probably Michael Vick. That's probably the biggest one recently that we can bring to the table. That again, women and dogs completely different. But I think from an outside looking in, you can kind of,
Can I push back a little bit on that one there?
Go ahead. Yeah. You're fine because that's a bad analogy, but
he was convicted and served time. He paid his
yes.
due.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. So then if Deshaun is, resolves his issues and serves his time, Or are you willing to move on?
Norman's dog does not like this conversation.
Yeah. Ebony's trying to get her word in on this one for sure.
Girl.
Anytime you say Michael Vick, she freaks out.
Yeah.
But like real quick though, like I mean, so it's result. You know, his case is a result. He serves his punishment. Do you move on?
The Browns will.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like a lot of people will.
It's
hey guys,
for me. Yeah.
Question.
Yes.
What kind of media circus do you think OTAs and training camp is going to be?
John's going to put that towel over his head.
Listen, here's my opinion, and I'm going to make Fatty's head explode again because he doesn't like it when I say things like this. Fatty's looking at me like, oh God, what are you going to say? Our local media is, well, I don't know that we have the most objective reporting. And here's what I know. They don't like Baker Mayfield, and they're in the anybody but Baker crowd, the majority of them. There are a few reporters that I am banking on asking the tough questions. But for the most part, I think the local media wants this swept under the rug as much as anybody else, good or bad, right, wrong, indifferent, right? Mary Kay doesn't want to talk about Baker. She hates Baker. Baker, told her to keep his name out of her mouth to put food on her table. Jesus Tony, all this other stuff, right? But, friend of the show and former guest Cameron Justice, I have a feeling that she'll ask some questions. Hayden Grove, he's been pretty outspoken. He'll have some tough
he
questions.
has.
I hope that these people have the courage to ask the tough questions because, again, right, wrong, indifferent, good or bad, they're questions that need asked. All right. It doesn't matter if he's guilty or not guilty. We get our information by asking questions. And if we're going to ask the good questions, we have to ask the bad ones too.
Hey, and I've been quiet this entire time.
Yes.
I'm waiting to hear from the Haslams. From the front office. No. They need to be in front of people and answer questions. Until I start to feel comfortable about this, I need an actual press conference with everyone and not just the guys behind the scenes. No. I need Jimmy. I need
D.
I need Barry.
He's going to be front and center, just like Kareem Hunt.
I'm going to say D is going to be probably one of the biggest people that you're going to probably relate to on what the answer is. Like, I mean, because you have to think, like, I mean, sorry, going to go back real quick that, what was it that Deshaun's lawyers, there was 3 understudies and majority of them were women that actually vetted the whole process and then, decided to take it on.
I don't need to see a typed up report.
No, I want to make Fatty, I'm with you. I want to see
that shit down. I don't want to see it because that's not from them. That's
from letter.
No, that's totally PR. Total PR move.
Fatty.
This is
my point. This is my point. Fatty, will you let me get my point out real quick? Whose name is first on this? Is it Jimmy Haslam?
D and Jimmy. But you know what? It's a form letter, Craig.
It's D.
It's a form letter.
I know it's a form letter.
Well, it's a form letter, but it's from her.
I got so much shit on Twitter this past week. Joe, I sent you some of the screenshots. Fatty, I sent you even more.
Dude,
let's see here.
Listen,
roasted on the spit, bro.
Dude, the amount of disgusting stuff that I got this week.
Well, you're wrong. That's why.
I actually criticized the Browns for not making a statement sooner. They were sitting on their hands. I'll be honest. I posted a couple memes of Sheldon blowing into the having the anxiety attack into the paper bag on the Big Bang Theory. Yes, the social media guy waiting for the go ahead to post something. And you know what? They posted these 3 statements and immediately buried it or tried to bury it with an announcement that Case Keenum was traded. Do you know how often they post 4 times within the matter of an hour? Never.
Yep.
Never. Ever.
Are you talking about Browns PR or
Browns PR on Twitter? So there was approximately 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes in between the Andrew Berry statement, the Kevin Stefanski statement, and the D and Jimmy Haslam statement, and then another 15 minutes or so, they posted the Case Keenum. If you go back and look at their posting schedule, they don't do that. They don't post back to back to back to back to back. And anybody that actually, tries to, monetize Twitter or like has something like this where we establish a brand and we're actually paying attention to those things, you don't do that.
Okay.
It's, but Fatty, I'm with you. I want to see them up there. I want to see what they have to say. But I can already tell you it's going to be D. Haslam front and center.
Absolutely.
I believe so.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I believe so.
If there's a what do they call it? A little side bet or prop bet, I'll take that money.
Hey, I pray to God it is. And I pray to God that she is right. But if she goes up there and shit hits the fan later on, the Browns organization is a shit show after that.
Yes.
Let me say something, Fatty. Let me say something. According to all the other people before the trade of Deshaun, as far as the quarterback goes, they were already calling us that. Okay. They were already looking down on us. Vegas was 40-1, which is it's not horrible, but it's not where you want it. Now that we got Deshaun, now we're like 16-1 odds now, according to Vegas. So that's something right there. D. Haslam has to be the one to speak. That letter, as I read it, it wasn't just like, an announcement, like we just traded Case Keenum, that kind of thing. That was a personal thing. And I liked it because I was even making comments on Twitter when I said, I can't believe that they did this deal in the way they did it without doing their due diligence. And when I said due diligence, I explained that in their investigation and finding out what was going on. And I'm also feeling, as far as that, I like that the way you said that, Craig, when you said the NFL's keeping their head low. I'm kind of thinking that the Browns had to be talking to the league as well, as far as what kind of punishment, if any, they may lay out, because and maybe all the other teams did too, because honestly, I don't see you making these moves and giving up 3 years of first round picks starting this year if you're not going to be able to really get used to them right away. It just takes away from it. And then I like the fact, going back on the trade, I like the fact that after they did the first 3 rounders, the other 2 picks come in next year and then the year after. And then I believe we're going to get one of their 5th rounders in 2024. That's the way that goes. But I'm sitting here. Yes, if they want to quell this down as far as OTAs and everything else, they're going to have to come out and speak a lot about it right away. I mean, maybe before the draft, that would be preferable. Okay. Something to talk about during the draft. If anything else, to kind of take the notice away from what Barry's doing as far as who he wants to draft. But don't let it fester into the spring and the summer without actually coming before the media. They need to sit down with all of them, explain again their position and what they did, and then say, okay, we got questions. Now, the first question I want to hear, because I think it's laughable, is the girl's lawyer when he said, I saw the article where it said the Browns didn't come to them and ask him anything. Actually, nobody in the league talked to him. Nobody. And there's various reasons for that. One, he's advocating for them, so everything he's going to say is going to be negative, and maybe a little biased, or maybe a lot biased.
You're muted, Craig.
Norman, hold on 1 second. Here's my issue with that, and both sides of this case are biased, right? The prosecution or the accusers, they're biased, but the defense is also biased, right? I understand why they wouldn't talk to the attorney, and at first thought, I would think, hey, this guy's not going to say anything anyways. This is an active case. Why would he tip his hand on anything? How do you know stuff's not going to get leaked? It puts them at a disadvantage in the legal system, this, that, and the other. But wouldn't you at least call? I mean, you want to call it due diligence, but is it due diligence if you don't at least call and say, hey, are you going to, and even if you go into it and know you're going to take it with a grain of salt, wouldn't both sides present something as opposed to nothing that the other side wouldn't? I mean, isn't that how this works?
Let me answer that. Okay, the reason why I don't think they needed to talk to him, or I wouldn't have talked to him, is because whatever, at least as far as what was going into the grand jury, because some of those women in the grand jury that were there are under him. They already got his information or their information, their side. Okay. But what they want, the league and the Browns, they want to find out all this stuff on their own. So they go through what has been presented or that they have available to them, and then what they can go back and find out themselves. They may have to in order to meet with somebody, they may have to make it worth their while or whatever, somebody that didn't come forward and talk to law enforcement, but they go and find out what they can find out. And they had enough of a comfort level in order to make this deal. And the fact that love Baker like I do, or for those that just hate him because he breathes oxygen, they felt like they had to get away from him. So they made this move. But unfortunately, it's not a unanimously popular move. Like you said, Craig, if it wasn't for those allegations, this would be unanimously held as the greatest not free agency, but greatest offseason move in NFL history.
So
but it's going to have an asterisk on it, no matter what. Go ahead.
Hey guys, I was just trying to find a couple of tweets I saw back a while ago, and it was basically 22 questions for the Haslams in the front office. And I don't know where I saw it. I can't find it right now, but those questions seem so poignant and so directed and so proper, so valid to ask, that to me it becomes very hard to imagine that we, when we have the media show, that they won't be asked.
I actually shared that with Craig. Hold on one second.
Share
Pete,
it back out if you would, there, Fatty.
Pete Smith.
Share it back out again if you would.
Yeah, I need to find that. I like to look at those too.
Oh, they were great questions.
All right, so check out that article. We don't have it handy. Maybe we can find it, but 22 questions.
Later's good.
There you go.
Yep,
I just quote retweeted you in it.
Okay, perfect. Outstanding. All right, so we're going to get into our closing deal here. We're going to do our dog of the week. We're going to do our Fatties on Fire segment. Norman, I don't want to air anything that you're not comfortable with. I just want you to know our thoughts and positive vibes are with you and headed your way. And we love you. And we appreciate your support of the show. And we tweeted earlier that it's our turn. So if there's anything we can do to support you, please don't hesitate to reach out. You need anything at all. You need somebody to talk to, need a friend, need help with anything at all. You reach out. We got your back. So we appreciate that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I will avail of your what you're offering. But if nothing else, I'll keep you guys posted as to what's going on with me.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Norman, when we mean anything, it's anything. I will give up my Girl Scout cookies for you, Norman.
Girl Scout.
That's a big give. That's a big
I
give.
just got a case of them things, bro.
Look at this face.
All right. So I wanted to make sure that we got to tell you that, Norman, while you were on, not necessarily on the show, but while we could speak face to face. A tweet's one thing, but we wanted to seriously tell you we appreciate you. We appreciate your support. We wish you a speedy recovery and for you to be healthy. And just know that we're thinking of you and that we're sending positive vibes your way. We're gonna kind of move on from that. Norman, we appreciate you joining the show. We're gonna get to our dog of the week and Fatty's on fire. We are gonna continue our discussion next week. So we appreciate you, Joe. Stick around for just a few minutes, and I have something I want to talk to you about after the show. I want to bring Ben in. Ben, we've had a lot of people in the room. I know you have some questions. Do you have one parting question or thought before we close out the show?
No, I think Norman actually really kind of relays a lot of the same thoughts I have. I mean, I feel sick about the way things have come down, both in the way that Baker was treated and also just the way that that everything has been dealt with. I think football wise, the front office and the coaching staff have done a fantastic job at selling the team and selling the coaching capabilities and all that. But it's a tough one. It's difficult and it's hard to get my head wrapped around right now. And I'm a fan of the team, but there's a few things that just don't feel quite right, and it's it's kind of hard. So it's a struggle right now, and I just leave it at that as my last comments. But it's you want to see what's best moving forward, and you just hope there's ways to kind of move forward in a positive light. Oh,
and you're muted yourself.
I just can't learn. It's like it's my first day. All right, Ben, we appreciate you. We appreciate your support and joining the show and coming on. We appreciate your presence on Twitter. We love interacting with you. Keep on keeping on. And all right, have a good week. Go Browns.
Cheers.
All right. So, Fatty, it's just us two now for a minute.
I know. Let's do it.
We're going to do our dog of the week. Every week we do our dog of the week. And during the regular season, we do an offensive and defensive dog of the week, an MVP of sorts. But it is the off season. This is a partnership we have with City Dogs of Cleveland. We are going to feature an adoptable dog. So here we go. Here is our weekly dog of the week. All right, so here we go. Our weekly dog of the week is once again, you guys know this girl by now, if you're still watching. It is Lolo. Lolo still has yet to be adopted. We are so determined to find her a home. We are going to keep featuring her until she finds one. We have dedicated ourselves to finding a home for this dog. And please reach out if you want to see if you're a match for Lolo. We'll help you connect with City Dogs of Cleveland. She likes toys. She likes the attention. She's very independent. She enjoys the company of other social dogs, but she's not a fan of cats. She needs surgery to correct problems with her kneecaps, but all the costs are covered thanks to friends of City Dogs of Cleveland. She just needs a special adopter and a home to rest and recover. She recently did an overnight visit with a volunteer, and here are some notes from their visit. Good house manners, likely housebroken, good in a crate, great in the car. And here's some more information on Lolo. She's 6 years old. She's sweet, spunky, sassy, and silly. Happy and easygoing, treat motivated, eager to learn, good in the car, likely housebroken, social with other dogs. Listen, Lolo is the longest resident. She is the longest resident of the City Dogs of Cleveland, and she needs a home. So somebody, please, if you're looking for a pet, please consider Lolo. And we will connect you with them. You can find City Dogs of Cleveland at City Dogs CLE on Twitter, at City Dogs Cleveland on Facebook, or you can call them at 216-664-3476. Also, like I said, if you would like, reach out to us, DM me, DM Fatty, DM the show. We will connect you with the City Dogs of Cleveland, and we will get you set up.
You can find our handles in our show bio. So just DM us. We need to get this dog adopted. We really
absolutely
like this has been like what 4 weeks in a row now.
Might be more than that. It might be 6 or 7, I think.
Come on, people.
I know, Lolo, and she's so beautiful. So beautiful. Look at that face. Look at that
I
face.
know, right?
All right, we are going to our fan favorite segment. It is Fatties on Fire. Here we go.
It's with a sad time that I do this, because last week I went after one person in an organization with the Cleveland Browns and Deshaun Watson with the number 22. And I realized that our world's a lot bigger than just that. So first off, to start off, Fatties on Fire, you know something, Twitter? Anybody can voice their opinion. All right? We got free speech. I don't tell you what to do. You don't tell me what to do or how to feel. So for everybody on Twitter that has gone after the Baker Bros, gone after anybody else for how they feel about this situation that the Cleveland Browns are in, I'm just going to be honest. Fuck you. All right? Because you guys are pieces of shit that hide behind either a fake Twitter account attacking people, or don't have the balls to say it to their face. And you know something? I'm nobody. I get it. I'm nobody. I see Craig over there going like this. He goes, oh shit, he said it. Oh shit, he said it. Yeah, I said it. Stop going after people. Why does it have to be one way or the other? Why does it have to be black or white? Why can you not let people feel the way they want to feel about this decision, about this team, about what is about to happen with your Cleveland Browns? Okay? And finally, lastly, Deshaun Watson, I'm sorry. Cleveland Browns, I'm sorry. Baker Mayfield, I'm sorry. NFL, I'm not sorry anymore. I sat there and bashed my team. I bashed a new quarterback, somebody who was innocent / proven guilty, all this other stuff. Yeah, all right, we'll get into that later. But what I'm not sorry about is the NFL allowing this shit to go on every year. Yes, I'm still going to watch football. I love football. It's the greatest game ever invented. I love it. I love my Browns. I'm still going to watch it. You call me hypocrite. You call me a piece of shit. I don't care. But to let murderers, Dante Stallworth, child abusers, Adrian Peterson, Tyreek Hill. Let's see here. Domestic violence. Oh boy, there's a list there. And now 22 allegations of sexual assault or sexual misconduct happened under your watch, and it's okay because it's the NFL. When any other aspect of this life and this world, that is not okay, and nobody is getting a second job. People are getting fired over it, and yet we, as fans, as families, and as the NFL, turned a blind fucking eye to what's actually going on in the NFL. These guys should not have a job. But hey, since you're talented and you can throw it 60 yards on a rope, you're my guy. And I'm just going to support you. And you know something? I'm part of it because I love the NFL. I love watching the NFL. I love all of that. So, you know something? Yeah, I'm the biggest hypocrite ever. I thought my Browns would actually stand up to the NFL. Not happening. They just fall right in line with everybody else. So, at this point in time, you can be pissed off at your Browns. You can be pissed off at Deshaun Watson. Where you need to be pissed off about is the NFL and just letting it happen, because they actually can just shut it the fuck down if they wanted to, and they do not care, because guess what? It's all about the cash. That's Fatty's on fire.
All right, here we go. Fatty was certainly on fire, and that is going to close out tonight's show. We are the Dawgs Table, a Roundtable Browns discussion show, and anybody can join. We post a link in the comments at the beginning of the show. You can DM us for the link if you don't find it. We are sponsored by Labatt Blue Light, Remax Edge Realty, the JC Group, and we are brought to you by Big Play. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, both at the Dawgs Table or at Dawgs Table and at Big Play. So that's where you can find us. That's tonight's show, and we will continue this discussion next week. Hope to see you soon. Until then, go Browns.
See you.